The cold wind blew sharply through the city streets on Christmas Eve. Snow fell gently, covering the ground like a soft white blanket. The city was bright with colorful lights, and people hurried to their warm homes, laughing and talking. But not everyone was inside. On a quiet park bench near a small playground, a woman sat holding her little son close. Her name was Sarah. She wrapped her thin, worn-out coat tightly around her small body, but it did little to stop the cold. Her son, Ali, was only 4 years old. He was curled up in her arms, shivering quietly. His tiny hands were cold, and he rested his head on Sarah's chest. Sarah's eyes were tired and sad. She looked around the empty park, hoping someone would come to help. But the streets were silent except for the wind. She whispered softly to Ali, "Don't be scared, Ali. Mama is here. We will be safe soon." But even her words sounded weak in the cold night. Sarah had not always been like this. Once, she had a good job and a warm home, but life had turned against her. She lost her job months ago and then lost her house. Now she and Ali had nowhere to go. The shelters were full, and the cold city had no mercy for those who had nothing. Sarah held Ali close, rocking him gently. His small body was trembling. She looked up at the stars, wishing for a miracle. Suddenly, the quiet was broken by the sound of a car engine. A sleek black luxury car drove slowly down the empty street. The headlights shone brightly, lighting up the park for a moment. The car stopped near the bench where Sarah and Ali sat. The driver's door opened, and a tall man in a sharp suit stepped out. His name was Hassan. He was a millionaire and a well-known businessman in the city. Hassan looked at Sarah and Ali sitting there in the cold. His eyes were sharp and curious. He had never seen them before, but something about their faces caught his attention. They looked lost and afraid, but also very brave. He walked slowly toward them. Sarah noticed the man and quickly pulled Ali closer to her. She felt nervous and unsure. Who was this man? Why was he stopping here on such a cold night? Hassan stopped a few feet away and spoke in a calm voice. "Excuse me, are you okay? Why are you out here in this cold night?" Sarah looked up at him, her eyes wide and full of pain. She said quietly, "We have nowhere to go, sir. I'm trying to keep my son warm, but it's very cold. We have no home." Hassan felt a strange sadness inside him. He looked at Ali, who was shivering, his little face pale in the cold. Hassan's heart softened. He could not imagine how hard life must be for them. He took off his warm coat and gently put it over Sarah and Ali. Sarah looked surprised and thankful, but she didn't say much. Hassan knew that this woman had faced many hardships and she was strong. As Hassan stood there, he noticed something else. Sarah's eyes held a secret. There was a story behind her sadness. He wanted to know more, but he didn't want to scare her away. He decided to sit down on the bench beside them, careful to keep his distance. "What is your name?" he asked softly. "Sarah," she replied, still holding Ali close. "And your son?" "Ali," she said with a small smile. Hassan smiled back gently. "Sarah, Ali, I want to help you, but first, please tell me, why are you here alone tonight? Why did you choose this park?" Sarah looked down at Ali. Her voice was barely a whisper. "I have no family left, no one to help me. I lost my job, and when I had no money, my landlord asked me to leave. I don't know where to go. I don't want to lose my son." Hassan listened carefully. He felt a strong desire to protect them. He thought about the warm house he lived in, the good food on his table, and the many blessings he had. "How did you survive all this time?" Hassan asked. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "I try to be strong for Ali. I beg for food sometimes, and I sleep here at night to keep him safe. I pray for a better day." Hassan looked at the sky. He saw the stars shining bright, and he wondered if this night would bring a change for Sarah and Ali. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind blew through the park. Sarah shivered and hugged Ali tighter. Hassan noticed that Ali was coughing softly. He felt his heart break. He knew he had to do something. But what could one man do in a big city full of people who ignore the poor? Just then, the sound of footsteps echoed nearby. Hassan turned quickly, his eyes scanning the dark street. Was someone coming? Or was this just his imagination? Sarah looked at Hassan nervously. Please, sir, if you can help us, please do. I don't want to lose my son. Hassan felt the weight of her words. He looked at Ali's fragile face and made a decision. He stood up and said firmly, I will help you both. But first, we need to find somewhere warm. Sarah's eyes widened in surprise. She wanted to believe him, but had been hurt too many times before. Hassan smiled kindly. Come with me. I won't leave you here tonight. Sarah took a deep breath and nodded. Ali wrapped his tiny hand around her finger. As they walked towards Hassan's car, the cold night seemed a little less scary. But the question remained. Who was Hassan really? And why did he care so much? The night held many secrets yet to be uncovered. Hassan opened the door of his black car. The warm air inside smelled of fresh leather and wood. Sarah helped Ali climb inside carefully. Ali looked around with big eyes, surprised by the warmth and light. He smiled faintly, forgetting the cold for a moment. Hassan sat in the driver's seat, watching Sarah and Ali closely. Where should I take you? He asked gently. Sarah looked down, unsure. There is a small shelter not far from here, but it is crowded, and they only have a few beds. Still, it is better than outside. Hassan nodded and started the car. As they drove through the quiet streets, the city looked different at night, calmer but full of stories like theirs. Sarah held Ali's hand tightly. She kept glancing at Hassan. Something about him made her feel safe, but she was still afraid to trust anyone. At the shelter, a kind woman greeted them. She was surprised to see Hassan with Sarah and Ali, but said nothing. The shelter was small but warm. There were beds and blankets, and people were quietly resting. Sarah helped Ali lie down on a clean bed. He was still coughing, and his small chest moved quickly with each breath. Sarah felt tears come to her eyes. Please get better, Ali, she whispered. Hassan sat near the bed, watching the boy. His heart ached for the small family. After a few moments, Hassan asked Sarah gently, Can you tell me more about what happened to you? I want to help, but I need to understand. Sarah looked away. She hesitated. Then slowly she began to speak. I wasn't always poor, she said softly. 2 years ago, I had a good life. I worked in a big company. I had a nice home and friends. Hassan listened carefully, waiting for her to continue. But one day, everything changed, Sarah said, her voice trembling. My husband died in an accident. After that, I lost my job because I was too sad to work well. Then bills started to pile up. I had no money, no family to help. My landlord gave me only a few days to leave the house. She paused, her eyes filling with tears. Hassan reached out and gently held her hand. Sarah did not pull away. I didn't want Ali to suffer, she whispered. I tried to find work, but no one would hire me with a sick child. Ali has a heart problem. He needs medicine and care. Without it, he gets worse every day. Hassan's eyes widened. A sick child needing help. No wonder Sarah looked so tired and scared. He thought about all the hospitals and doctors he knew. Surely he could find help for Ali. But why did you come here? To the park? Hassan asked. Sarah looked at Ali lying quietly on the bed. I had nowhere else. I didn't want to beg on the street, but I needed to keep Ali warm at night. I hoped someone kind would help us. Hassan felt a deep respect for Sarah's courage. She had fought so hard for her son. Just then a nurse came in. Ali needs a checkup soon, she said kindly. His cough worries me. Hassan nodded. We will do everything to help him, he promised. Sarah looked at Hassan with hope shining. Her eyes. Thank you, she said softly. I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything. Hassan smiled. Just rest now. Tomorrow I will find a way to help Ali get better. Sarah leaned back, exhausted but thankful. Hassan stayed with them for a while, thinking about the next steps. But as the night grew deeper, Hassan received a phone call. His business partner's voice was cold and harsh. Hassan, we heard you are helping some poor woman and her son. This could damage our company's reputation. You need to stop this now." Hassan frowned. "I can't ignore them. This child needs help. Think carefully. Your choice will have consequences." Hassan ended the call and looked at Sarah and Ali sleeping peacefully. He knew the road ahead would be difficult. Helping Sarah and Ali could cost him everything, but how could he turn away? The night was quiet, but inside Hassan, a storm was growing. A storm of courage, hope, and determination. The morning sun slowly rose, casting soft light over the shelter. Sarah woke up, feeling a little stronger. Ali was still weak, but he had stopped coughing during the night. She smiled quietly, hope growing in her heart. Hassan was already awake, sitting in a corner, thinking deeply. He knew today would be a challenge. His business partners were not happy. They wanted him to stop helping Sarah and Ali, but Hassan's heart would not allow him to ignore their pain. He decided to visit the B hospital himself to arrange treatment for Ali. He wanted the best doctors to look at the boy. Sarah thanked him quietly. She felt nervous but also thankful for this kind stranger. At the hospital, Hassan spoke with the doctors. They examined Ali carefully and promised to do their best. Ali needed medicine and some special tests. Hassan agreed to pay for everything. After the hospital, Hassan returned to Sarah and Ali. He felt hopeful but worried. The powerful people in his company could try to stop him any time. That afternoon, Hassan received another phone call. This time, the voice was angrier. "Hassan, we warned you. Stop helping that woman or face the consequences." Hassan took a deep breath. "I cannot stop. This child's life is more important than business." There was silence on the other. "Doo-doo." Then the line went dead. Sarah overheard the conversation. She looked at Hassan with concern. "Are they going to hurt you?" she asked quietly. Hassan shook his head. "They might try, but I will protect you and Ali, I promise." Sarah felt tears in her eyes. She had never met anyone so brave, someone who cared so much about strangers. That evening, Hassan took Sarah and Ali to his home. It was a big house full of warmth and light. Sarah was amazed. She never imagined a life like this could exist. Hassan's staff welcomed them kindly. They brought blankets, food, and warm clothes for Ali. Ali smiled for the eye. First time in days, he felt safe. But even in this beautiful house, danger was near. Hassan's enemies were planning something. Late that night, a stranger knocked on Hassan's door. He wore a dark coat and a hat pulled low. Hassan opened the door carefully. The stranger smiled coldly. "We warned you, Hassan," he said. "This is your last chance. Stop helping the poor woman and her son. Or else," Hassan stood tall, "I will not stop. Ali's life is more important than your threats." The stranger turned and left without another word. Hassan closed the door and locked it tight. His heart pounded. The fight was just beginning. Sarah held Ali close. She looked at Hassan with hope and fear. She wanted to believe that good would win, but the dark shadows around them were growing stronger. The next morning, the sun shone bright, but a cold feeling hung in the air. Hassan knew the stranger's warning was serious. He could not let anything happen to Sarah and Ali. He decided to hire extra security for his home. 2 strong men arrived and stood quietly near the entrance, watching carefully. Hassan wanted to protect his new friends at all costs. Sarah and Ali tried to enjoy the warm house. Ali played with some toys while Sarah prepared a small meal. For the first time in a long time, they felt a little peace. But that peace was fragile. At the same time, far away in a dark office, Hassan's enemies met. They were angry and desperate. They wanted to stop Hassan's kindness. If he helped the poor, their power would weaken. One man said coldly, "We must act now. If Hassan continues, our plans will fail." Another nodded, "We will take control. By force, the woman and her son must disappear." Back at the house, Hassan was unaware of the new threat growing closer. Suddenly, late in the afternoon, Sarah heard a noise outside. She looked through the window and saw a shadow moving near the garden. Her heart jumped. "Hassan, someone is outside!" she called. Hassan grabbed a flashlight and stepped outside carefully. The security men followed him. They searched the garden but found no one. The air was quiet again. Sarah held Ali tightly. "What do they want?" "From us," she whispered. Hassan shook his head. "I don't know. But I will not let them hurt you." That night, Sarah could not sleep. She kept thinking about the danger. She wished things could be different, that Ali could live without fear. Meanwhile, Hassan worked late on his computer. He was trying to find out who was behind the threats. He had many friends in the city and hoped someone could help. Suddenly, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hassan answered quietly. "Hello?" A deep voice said slowly, "Stop helping the poor woman and her son, or you will lose everything." Hassan stood up and said firmly, "I will never stop. You cannot scare me." The line went dead. Sarah heard Hassan's voice and came to his room. She saw the anger and fear in his eyes. "Are they really going to do something?" she asked softly. Hassan nodded. "Yes, but I am ready to fight for you and Ali." Sarah smiled weakly. "Thank you for caring so much." Hassan looked at Ali sleeping peacefully in his mother's arms. "We will keep him safe, no matter what." But deep inside, Hassan knew the fight would be dangerous. The people who wanted to hurt Sarah and Ali were powerful and cruel. He made a promise to himself. He would protect this small family, even if it meant risking his own life days past. But the danger did not leave. Hassan and his security men stayed alert, watching every movement near the house. Sarah tried to stay strong for Ali. She cooked, cleaned, and kept Ali close. But fear was always there, like a shadow. One evening, when the sun was setting, Hassan got a strange letter in the mail. It was an old envelope with no return address. He opened it carefully. Inside was a photo of Sarah and Ali, taken secretly. Along with the photo was a short message. "Leave now or worse will come." Hassan's hands shook. He showed the letter to Sarah. Her eyes filled with tears. "How do they know where we live?" she asked, voice trembling. Hassan hugged her. "They are watching us closely, but I will not run. We will fight this." That night, Hassan called his closest friend, a police officer named Bilal. "I need help. Someone is threatening a family I care about," Hassan said. Bilal promised to send officers to watch the house. "We will protect them, Hassan. No one will harm Sarah and Ali." But Hassan knew the enemies were not normal criminals. They were powerful people who could get to anyone. The next morning, Sarah and Ali were playing in the garden when a black car stopped near the gate. Two men got out and walked toward the house. Sarah's heart raced. She ran inside and locked the doors. Hassan came quickly and looked through the window. The men were strangers. They talked quietly but looked dangerous. Hassan stepped outside and called them. "Can I help you?" One man smiled coldly. "We just want to talk." Hassan felt a chill. He knew this was not a friendly visit. He said firmly, "Leave now. This is a private home." The men laughed and left, but Hassan knew this was just the beginning. Later that day, Sarah found a small note slipped under the door. It said, "This is your last warning." Sarah held Ali close and whispered, "We are not safe here." Hassan sat with them and said, "We will find a way. We must be strong." But inside he worried. The enemies were coming closer. Their threats were real. The days after the warning were filled with fear and hope. Hassan knew he had to act fast to protect Sarah and Ali. He called his old friend Bilal, the police officer, and told him everything. Bilal promised to bring more help, but Hassan also wanted to find out who was behind these threats. One evening, Hassan sat with Sarah and Ali in their small living room. Ali was playing quietly, unaware of the danger outside. Hassan said, "Sarah, I have a plan. We will move Ali to a safe place, somewhere no one can find him." Sarah nodded, her eyes full of tears. Anything to keep him safe. The next day, Hassan took Ali to a secret house outside the city. It was owned by a trusted friend who promised to keep the boy safe. Sarah stayed in the main house, pretending everything was normal. But inside, her heart was heavy without her son. Meanwhile, Hassan worked day and night to find the enemies. He used all his money and power. He hired private detectives and checked every lead. One night, Bilal came with news. Hassan, we found someone who might be involved. A man who works for a powerful businessman. Hassan's eyes widened. We must act quickly. They will not stop until they get what they want. That night, Hassan and Bilal planned a secret meeting with the man's boss. They hoped to stop the threats without violence, but things didn't go as planned. The meeting was dangerous. The businessman was cold and cruel. He laughed at Hassan's warnings. If you think you can stop me, you are wrong, he said. Hassan left the meeting feeling stronger but worried. The enemy was bigger than he thought. Back at home, Sarah waited anxiously for news about Ali. She prayed every night for his safety. Suddenly, one morning, Sarah found a small box at her door. Inside was a note and a tiny toy, Ali's favorite. The note said, "We are watching. Stay silent or you will lose more." Sarah's hands trembled. The enemy was still very close,